want to show you real quickly here how close those panels look. So if we could get, let's do the black one first. Here's the panel. So this is half size. I painted half size, and then this is it, you know. But I mean, it's just, they do such a great job. And then here is the honey one. Honey, could you bring her? Okay. And that gets that modeling on there. They pick that right up. And then the gray. Yeah. So they do a really nice job. And then I wanted to just see if I could find a piece of that, my favorite jacquard here to show you, because I really like that fabric.
So are they able to match your colors because of the paint you use? Because the paint is more of an opaque type paint? Okay.
Yeah. When I would use watercolor, I think it was a real challenge for them. I know some companies ask the designers to send in like the color chart, you know, PMS colors, things like that, Pantone colors.
Not PMS.
Pardon me? Not PMS. Oh, they're gone, right? Pantone colors. He probably does. Oh boy. But Moda doesn't ask me to do that yet. So here's that jacquard that you saw me. And I really think that just comes out so rich. And saturated, but not so saturated you can't see the fine details. That.
Did you say that this is the third line of bee fabric that you created?
Yes.
Because I think I made a quilt from the first line.
So there's been Be Creative, then Be Inspired, this is Be Joyful.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Is there another one?
These have been good to us. These are really good, yeah.
Or is it out now?
The Be Joyful is out now. And we have some of it over here. It's been out for a little while, but it's still out there, I believe. So I'm just going to show you real quickly here a couple things that, this is my new Christmas fabric that is, I think, just came out. I know some of you have seen it. It's called Holiday Lodge. We're just going to show you the panels on that one. So I don't get the artwork back for like a year. So, and they're really careful because some companies, I had one company lose like 8 pieces of my artwork. So this is Holiday Lodge. This is the panel for it. Okay. Yes, I'll have you do that. And then the off-white and then the black.
I think the back door has that.
And then the show.
Back door has green.
I wanted to show you what the panels look like printed up here.
They have the green.
So there it is in fabric. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Deb Strain. And we try to show all kind of things that people do with my fabrics. The company that designs most of my patterns is Coach House Designs. And she's a dear friend in Canada, and we work really well together. And we're going to do a little quilt show here. And most of these quilts have been designed by Barb. I think we can just show them. This is just another little line that I did that you can, I liked it because you could cut it apart. I think we have those kits too.
It's a guy's.
So have I forgotten anything, Scott?
Okay.
Any questions?
Deb, did you say where you went to school? Did you go to an art school?
Put myself through college, go wherever I could. Kind of. So I went to Upstate College in art education.
In what state?
Ohio,
Ohio.
Wright State. And then I have a master's in art therapy.
Okay.
So, which I don't use.
But you see it all the time.
Yeah. So hopefully.
Have you ever gotten to go to the factory where they painted or?
Well, Japan, Mr. Dunn, the owner of Moda, took Scott and I to Japan. Oh, man, we had fun. We really did have fun, though. It was a great trip. It was a wonderful trip. We love to travel. We have been all over the world, to Thailand, to, oh my gosh, Japan, Thailand, all of Europe, and we were supposed to go do this whole presentation right now, this same talk in the Netherlands last year, and had a family illness and couldn't go, but that's kind of what we love to do, is travel. So yeah. So were there any other questions? I thought, yes, ma'am.
So when you're designing a fabric collection, are you taking into account and thinking about having different scale designs and colors so someone can complete like a whole quilt with just your fabric?
Yeah, I try to, and then Barb, the one who designs my patterns, she's really good about taking those things and incorporating them into, you're going to be amazed by some of these quilts, what she can do with panels. I'm amazed. She does the most wonderful things with panels, so creative, and I'm really fortunate to work with her. You can see almost all of her designs at CoachHouseDesigns.com, and she lists them by artist, so you can, almost all of them that you'll see here tonight, just go to Deb Strain. Yeah.
Do you sew?
I was in Busy Bees 4-H Club for 7 years growing up, but right now, my life, I don't. I mean, I can sew. I just stitched over there, didn't I, ladies? Yeah, a couple of you, but no, I can. I mean, I made my homecoming dresses and prom dress, and we even made the bridal, the attendants, but at this point in my life, I am painting so much every single day. But one day I will do that, because my grandmother was a quilter, my mom's a quilter, Katie's a quilter. I will be a quilter as well. Have plenty of fabric to start with. But I am, I'm embarrassed to answer that. I really am. Well, I admire, that's for me, I get to see all of your creations, and I'm in awe of what you can do. And so it really is, you guys are just amazing. These are beautiful, and I'm just really amazed. It is an art form. And have you ever thought about those women on the Oregon Trail and the intelligence that they had to have and creativity to be able to come up with that stuff without all our templates and everything that we all have? And I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing that, yeah. So I'm sorry. But I will one day. One day I want to post. I did it. So this is, we have some of these kits back here. This is the kit that we have over here. And this is called Holiday Lodge.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So we'll go. And then this is another kit we have over there with the panels. Let's see, upside down, yeah. I don't even have this one quilted yet. I beg, borrow, and steal these quilts, by the way. So these are some of the ones we have the kits for, and Moda's been doing kits, which is wonderful.
Together. She showed the pan.
So
The house wasn't in the panel, was it?
No, it wasn't in the holiday one.
I had to really think on that one. Okay, so now we're going to do a really quick through time with Deb Strain quilts here. And you'll be able to tell kind of the time periods just from the colors and styles. And I really love doing this because it just shows how things change, even colors. Like for instance, Christmas colors. Red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. But remember these red greens back in the 90s? The darker and dirtier, the better. I didn't even wash my paintbrushes out. I just kept them. But still red, green. And then a little later, it cleaned up a little. We threw in some navy. Still kind of dirty, that tea dye look. This one went a little richer. Oh no, this one might have been between those two. But still red, green Christmas. A little bit later, oh yes, we had, I love this quilt. See, I'm like singing. I can't sing, but boy, I appreciate singing. I can't quilt yet, but boy, I really appreciate and admire them. And this one's red green, and it's more traditional. Red green. Okay, sure. The panel on this one, she didn't use the panel on that one, right?
That one's a great quilt.
This Christmas one, we added aqua, which is so pretty.
Still have that one.
Do you? Yeah, one of these days. So still Christmas colors. This year, when I was designing for this year, green was not that popular. So you just used green a little bit. The red was really strong. The aqua was really strong. But just, barely a little bit of green in there that year. And then one year, it was like neon green. Still red, green, red, green, red, green.
I have some of that still.
I saw some of that in a quilt, I think, around somewhere. Yeah.
We need to come shop at your house. She's scared will be on the back one.
Someone asked me if I had done a blue and white fabric line. I did. It was called Spa, and this is one of the quilts from that. Doesn't it? It looks like the Delft wear. Okay. So I had this great idea. I wanted to do a family tree panel. Okay. So I wanted you to be able to customize it. And so I made these little birds. I made a big tree, and I made these little birds that you could put names on and put them on the tree, to show your family. So this was my family tree quilt. Well, Barb, my friend from Coach House, made up one for me. This is the Strain family tree. Okay, now let me explain this tree. So here's Scott and I like this. And here's Scott and I. And here's Katie and Trevor, who just had the baby. So that one still needs to go there. Here's Aaron and the twins. Here's Taylor's job for the next 10 years. Right here. Fill that tree.
How many birds do you get?
Yeah, you have a lot.
I have a lot.
So every year at Quilt Market, and that is coming up next month, the end of October, I go to Quilt Market twice a year, in an international quilt market. In the fall, it's always in Houston. And then in the spring, in May, it floats. So sometimes it's in Salt Lake City, sometimes it's in Portland, sometimes it's in St. Louis. Pittsburgh, yeah. Well, this year it's in Houston, and every time that you have a new fabric line coming out with Moda, someone makes a quilt and they hang it in their booth, and it's gorgeous. I mean, their booth is beautiful anyway, but they hang these quilts with your new fabric line in the booth. And this quilt was hanging in the booth with my first bee line, and I loved it. And the whole show I kept saying, oh, I love that quilt, I love that quilt, I love that quilt. I really love that quilt. I think I told every person from Moda there that I love that quilt. Well, Scott and I built a new house soon after that, and when we moved in, our colors were gray and gold, and we got this package in the mail that said, welcome to your new home, Deb, and love Moda. And look at this one. Oh, wow. Thank you. Isn't that pretty?
Who made it for you? Is it
one of the Moda in-house people. Right, so now when they do the kits, and I think this was a kit, one of the early kits, and now we do them, when they do them, they give the quilt designer, you know, recognition and things like that. But this was early days of the kits, and I think someone in-house designed them. This one I just bring because I like the colors for fall. Okay, this is a farm group I did called Homegrown. I think it goes like this, yeah.
You have that one?
This, I think that was the kit for that one. So my daughters are designers too in their own right, and Moda invited them to design a fabric line with me. My oldest designer actually used to design for Moda, but you know, twins, and so she does it now. But this is the group that we did as a family. So my two daughters and I did this group. It's called Come Grow With You. This is from a quilt by Barb. Oh yeah, this is from the new Christmas group that's just out.
Now that's the panel.
Thank you. This is another quilt from that group. Doesn't she do great things with panels? I'm so fortunate to work with her. This is a group I always bring when I'm in the Midwest because this is the Midwest. And it's called Coming Home. And it's the barn quilt.
Brown socks.
This bee one is in, I actually designed this one, and it is in the Martingale book over here.
Yeah, that Martingale book is nice.
This Martingale book, the Lucky Charms quilt. It's in that one.
Yeah, that's just nice.
This is a coffee line I did called Brew.
Which is not difficult to make because of all the
Do you?
I think I've got
I love it.
it in my sewing room somewhere.
This one is called, this group was called Cherish Nature. I might take both of you there. Oh, this is, I like to show this one just because this looks exactly like my painting, exactly. I mean, see the modeling they got in the gold and things like that? I mean, I'm just always so amazed by how close they look to my paintings.
Do you have these panels here?
We have some panels. We have the Holiday Lodge, and we have some of the panels, but it's hit or miss. But you can find most of them on somewhere. Yeah. This one, well, you can find the patterns from Barb. I really like this one. This one's called All Stocked Up, the honey jars. Isn't that cute? That's from Barb. Oh, this is supposed to be my, well, this was an early baby line I did, and I got this quilt because I was going to give it to my first grandchild, but boys. So Effie will probably get this one, yeah. I love being able to say I have a granddaughter. And this one is just a real fun little Halloween group I did a while back.
That's cute. Susie, I like that.
Almost.
That's right up around.
Okay, so I always end my talks with the same quilt, and it's this quilt. Every talk I've ever done, yeah. This one's made by my grandma with my fabric, by hand.
Wow.
It's hand stitched. It is. This is when the tornado sirens go. This is what goes with me, right? But Grandma used to do these talks with me. If you're female in our family, you've done talks with Deb. And she also went to Houston with me. I got her to drink a margarita. This is from a fabric collection called Albany Collection, and I researched old wallpaper in upstate New York houses. So, okay, we'll get over this way. But if you see, there's a D for Deb, every fan. Yeah. And then let's just show them the hand.
Oh, yeah.
I love this. Wow. And her hands were all arthritis, So, yes.
Are you able to tell us what the colors are for next year?
Oh my! I always look this up. Oh boy! Anyone else know? The Color Association's already come out with this year's color. I can't remember what it is.
When was burnt orange?
Yeah.
A coral? Was that this year?
That might have been it. Might be that coral one. And one year it was like Marsala.
Yeah.
1 year. But you can go to Pantone, PMS, Pantone on the internet, and they'll usually tell you the color of the year.
Your designer for Moda, get their permission to have quilt designs made by someone else or have the books made by someone else?
No, that's a really good question. I retain the copyright for everything I do. And if you know of anyone getting into this industry or have any aspirations of doing it yourself, always keep the copyright, because I am allowed to say where my artwork goes. And it's always written into different contracts. So my contract with Moda is I only work with Moda for raw fabric. Okay, but I can design bedding for another company that's sold as bedding. I can do curtains using fabric, design that for curtains, but not for raw fabric like that. Different companies work differently. I'm not allowed to design calendars for any other company than the one I do. Flags I can do, garden flags for any company. So it all depends on the contract. Yeah. So, any other questions then?
Do you still live in Ohio?
We do. We live in Yellow Springs, Ohio. It's a hippie town.
That's a great
It's near
town.
Dayton.
That's a great town.
It's a great
I love
town.
It. I love
We
Yellow
love it
Springs.
there. We
Yeah.
love Yellow Springs. It's a wonderful town when it's near Dayton. So, yeah. So, if no questions, thank you so much for inviting us. We appreciate it.